All right, we are recording. Um, so, so I guess to set this up, what we're doing. First of all, this is a podcast show, whatever it turns into. It's kind of chronicling an adventure that you and I have been taking
Mhm.
into sort of experimental music and art.
Yep, I think we can call it Andrew takes Brandon down roads he's uncomfortable with. And
That
uh,
works.
we made a music thing. That's great. And now we're gonna make a another thing, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be an NFT thing.
yeah.
And
And actually, why don't we go ahead and start the timer out? Because
yeah,
I'm
okay.
afraid that we're
So
going to. Okay,
here's what
so
we're gonna
you
do.
can explain the timer rule.
We're gonna this thing that we're making. Cat wants in. Cat gets to come in. This thing that we're making is going to be right here is going to be excluding this one about 15 minutes long. So you don't have to spend your whole day here. You don't have to hang out with us. 15 minutes in out, get some ideas. And it will be 15 minutes. So I'm going to call time and everything. And Andrew's going to take me down some dark roads. And the timer started. Let's go.
All right, good. So to set this up, so basically, Brandon and I have been working together on this project the last few months, and one of the things that for me, it's always been in the back of my mind to do something either with that project or with something else involving NFTs. And for the one that we just finished up, we just put it out on YouTube. We're actually working now on putting it on Apple Music and stuff like that, and maybe some other outlets as well. But we're starting a new project, and we thought that this might be a good time to sort of chronicle the adventure into NFTs. And as Brandon said at the beginning, this is something that really has been driven by me, and I know I'm sort of dragging Brandon through this. And I feel like we can both probably learn some things because basically, I'm sort of gung ho on NFTs. I think there's a lot of potential. Brandon, I know you have some reservations about them, and so I think in this first episode, basically, we're just going to talk about a few things like the basics. What are NFTs, and why would we even want to explore this? So I think those are the main topics that we want to cover.
And in fairness, there's a secret episode that we will not release. That was our first episode. That was too long, and why the timer exists. And Andrew got me on board, and then I watched a scary YouTube documentary, anti NFTs, and I was like, "Well, I'm back out." So now we're like back to square one because that's how easily I fall apart. Is you
Okay.
show me an hour and a half worth of a documentary of something, and I'm just like, "Well, clearly the Earth is flat." Like I'm very pro to propaganda, and I so Andrew's
Okay.
gonna re-propagandize me.
All right. So let's get our topics up here. Okay. So first of all, just with NFTs, they're most popular right now because of art, and they're very controversial. I think because people know them as art, but they go way beyond art, and people. For the purpose of this podcast, we don't need to go into a lot of details, but just I just did want to mention that really NFTs are something that can be used in basically all fields, and because what they are they're essentially uh, a mark of well, all right, starting to go into territory, that this is going to make this too long. But basically, there's people in real estate using NFTs. There's people fighting climate change that are using NFTs, and so I just mentioned a couple of those because I want people to know that they go way beyond art. They go way beyond this idea of sort of this art and finance, um,
So,
and
Andrew,
yeah.
beyond a proof of ownership, which we've had for a long time, what is an NFT in some ways? Like, how is it better than a certificate that says Brandon owns this?
Yeah. So, well, I think it's going to depend on like what aspect of an NFT you're talking about.
Hmm.
But I think uh, again to try and keep this sort of streamlined a little bit, let's look at like specifically for music and art.
Hmm.
So for music, I think that it's really just another form of distribution or another form of giving people a way to listen to it. And if you think back into the uh, the creation of the cassette tape, right? Okay, so I remember, yeah, like when I had a cassette tape and you had the boom boxes where you could like copy from one tape to another, right? You could so look, I'm not gonna say I didn't do this, but I'm not gonna say I did either. You could borrow your friend's, Michael Jackson tape or whatever, and then, make a copy on a blank cassette, and then you would have your own, right? So, eh, that didn't that doesn't, negate, the fact that negate, any kind of reasons, like, for putting out, um, you know, uh original music or anything like that. So for me, this is just another way to listen to music.
Okay.
Some people are going to like it, some people aren't. The same thing with like CDRs when they came out. And then even like with Napster, when that came out, you could download music for free and stuff like that. So there's lots of ways to listen to music for free if that's what you want to do.
Hmm.
But if you want to support artists, then you can also do that. Back in the 80s, you could buy a cassette. In the 90s, you could buy a CD. And, in the 2000s and beyond, you don't have to go to Napster or like free places like that. You can download music and pay for it. So if you want to listen to music for free, you can do it. There's plenty of ways to do it. But if you want to support artists and you want to support music creation, you can also do that. So I think from a music perspective, I just see it as another way to listen to music. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah. I mean, I see it as a way to support an artist. I don't like. It's hard for me to get past. Like, it's probably just my big dumb head. Hi, you were biting, so you had to go down. We have 10 minutes left, and which is fine. We'll do this again next week, and we'll try again, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I don't understand like why I just can't buy a copy. Say, like when you do performance art, they sell limited edition prints of pictures of the performance art.
Mhm.
And like they've been doing that since the 70s, and the NFT doesn't feel necessary. Like the necessity of it is where I hit where the baseball bat hits my mouth. Like I don't know. I can't I can't wrap my head around the necessity of it.
Well, so well, let's look at it from the art perspective, I think, because like I said, I'm not sure really. Um, like as far as the music, I'm not sure I can really say anything more than what I just said, like that, because like I said, it's not. If you want to listen to music a different way, you can. So I think that it's not
Even if you want
it's
to
not
support the
necessary in that sense.
like, and
Hmm.
you can still. I mean, I have a wall of records, far too many, like an embarrassing
Yeah,
and I would argue that supported the artist as well.
sure, sure.
I have a cool record now. The it's funny because whenever we argue the environmental impacts, like everything has an environmental impact, and I'm sure pressing a record has a huge environmental impact. But I gotta live, like yeah, you know what I mean? Like I gotta be
Yeah,
alive. I'm sorry. Um,
yeah,
I recycle and don't eat meat and f off. So that is, but like I just don't. I have trouble wrapping my head around the necessity. I understand why we need websites. Websites are places you go, and I understand buying things online because I get to buy things online and make connections that are further away than me.
yeah,
But the it is the reason the piece we made exists is because I felt uncomfortable with NFTs, but think QR codes are cool. So said I wouldn't sell an NFT, but I would sell a QR code.
yeah.
And I'm still trying to understand it, and I just don't.
Sure.
Like, I'm not being jerk. That's why I'm here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Well, so I think okay, so if we turn that over to sort of like the art side, because like I said,
Mhm,
I mean, obviously the art side of it is the biggest part of it right now, the biggest popular part of NFTs right now.
mhm,
And I think you can sort of answer that question the same way you could answer it as if it looking at the physical art world. So basically, um, you know, okay, let's say Van Gogh. Okay, so I just saw this awesome exhibit, which I won't go into right now because it'll take us off on another tangent. But like, let's take Van Gogh for instance. Okay, so if you own a Van Gogh, that's whatever millions of dollars, right? But if you own a print of Van Gogh, you can buy it at the gift shop, for $5 or $10, right?
mhm.
But which one is worth more? You're looking at the exact same thing, but which one is worth more? Okay, so that's an argument you hear a lot. Is that okay? If you've got something that is the original, or deemed as the original, then of course it's worth a lot more. So it's a very direct comparison, I think, to the physical art world. The other thing, I think that annoys a lot of people is that idea of sort of exclusivity, and like the uh, the uh, collection, of NFTs and things like that. But again, like I think that's pretty comparable to what goes on in the physical art world. Like what's happening in NFTs, like
Mhm.
isn't that different from what has been happening in the art world for decades or possibly hundreds of years. You've
That's why
got
that's one of the reasons it's so weird to me is because artist by an artist I legitimately like but don't love that piece. It's the banana piece.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, yeah, that is it's the certificate of authenticity.
yeah.
That existed. Like it's just such a weird like I don't know why it
Okay,
exists in
so
a
yeah,
non
okay.
I take a piece of paper and give it to you for 'em.
Right. Okay. So, but take that idea now and put it onto the digital world, right? Okay. So, like all the stuff that you put on Instagram, like
Mhm.
everyone can look at your stuff on Instagram for days and days and days, and you're not going to get paid for looking at it on Instagram, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a way for digital artists to get paid. Like
Mhm,
if Van Gogh, Van Gogh, if you uh, it's kind of the same. Like, okay, if you go to an art museum and you're looking at the real Van Gogh, right? Okay, let's say Van Gogh is alive. So you go into the museum. You've got millions of eyes on this museum. Like those eyeballs aren't paying you, um, aren't paying Van Gogh rather, right?
mhm,
Okay, so it's the same thing here. Like you have that ability to see it, and in this case, in the digital world, the museum is Instagram, right?
mhm.
Okay, so you've got all these eyeballs right here. Okay, but I mean, artists have to make a living, right? So uh, the NFT is a way in the digital world to get paid for that art. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's all that's where, like, my argument it doesn't fall apart, but, like, it's frustrating for me because I would just if you wanna print of my art or even if you wanted the rights to a single piece, I would say, "You own this," and then I would prick my finger and put some blood on it and then give it to you, and that would be an agreement that we had, you know what I mean? Like, I would certificate of authenticity of it like a son of a gun.
Yeah,
Um, but, like, the necessity for like the pretend that like oh this is a new idea and we have to do all these steps and I think next week because we're running out of time we're going to talk about proof of power versus proof of stakes
proof of
um
work for versus proof
proof
of
of
stake. Yeah,
work yeah proof of work versus proof of stakes also and in fairness I am also because I read that I am doing the new high fructose which is people's in it
yeah.
is he's the cover of it so I'm not only reading anti nft material
Okay,
uh I wanted to make that clear
yeah.
uh
Um, well, but I think so. But I think what you're saying about the certificate of authenticity.
mhm,
So 2 minutes.
three.
3 minutes. Okay. So I think it's that idea, but that you're taking that idea, but just putting it in the digital world. And just think about, I mean, the fact that we're moving increasingly more and more in a digital world already. I mean, all the art that you're making is on your phone, right?
Yes, that is true.
You know, yeah. So I mean, like you're not even using paper or pen, and that kind of thing, which I think is amazing, by the way. So uh, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to work with you is because of that, because you're working in the digital world, and I think that so so it's just taking that idea and giving it their certificate of authenticity, but in the digital world.
Mhm.
And what else was I going to say about that? I can't remember. Maybe I'm talking about my
The digital world, it's okay.
yeah,
Because we're at 13 minutes,
yeah,
which is good. This is like we're covering a single subject,
yeah,
which is
exactly,
why
yeah,
should it exist?
right.
And the argument that like a certificate of authenticity will no longer cut it in a digital world, and that it has to be digitized, is something I and it is something that cannot be duplicated, like, you can take a picture of it, and that is the whole sort of point of it, or seemingly should not be able to be duplicated. That's the pitch. Um,
Well, yeah, but
or
like I said, like
duplicate
yeah, I mean, there's like you can still look at it, just
Mhm,
like you could look at it in a museum or you can look at it on Instagram. It's just that, if you or I buy an NFT, then now, we are, the quote owners of that. And
mhm.
for people who know about NFTs, there's a little bit more to it than that, but let's just say owners, right? So like we're the owners of that NFT, and that gives us, not just from, and I think, look, I think that any reason to buy art and any reason to buy music is is a good thing. And if some people do want to do it just for the collective exclusivity of it, that's fine. Me personally, and we've talked about this, is that I want to do something that's artistic. And if I'm going to buy an NFT, I want to enjoy it. I'm not really going to buy it, because I expect it to go up or down in value, up in value, or whatever. I want to buy it because I enjoy it.
So, I think that's something we're probably gonna talk about in, like, 3 weeks, which is spectacular since we
Sure.
already have that we know what next week is because we have 30 seconds left. But I think
Okay.
that sometimes you think it's art, but a lot of times, like the crypto punks and board ape stuff, it's not actually art that they're buying a token.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's something that is one of the if you're smart, if you're against NFTs, you're like, it's just a JPEG. But if you're smart and you're against NFTs, you're like, it's a token. It's not about the art. It's about the ownership of the thing and the high prices built to keep people out, and it's rich people moving money around. And that is 15 minutes.
All right. Well, so unfortunately, we have to stop there.
Yeah,
I hope this piqued everyone's interest, and we'll hopefully see you again next week.
certainly. Honestly,
Oh,
peaked mine.
by the way, we have to say, this is not financial advice, and this is for education and entertainment purposes only. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. That's what we have to say.
Yeah, smash that like button
Smash
3
that
times.
like button.
If you and smash it 3 times in a row. So turn it on, off, and then on again. Uh,
Exactly.
just to give yourself a feeling of power. And when you turn it on, make sure that you have a little vibrate on your phone, so you have some sort of physical
So you can
feel.
feel it. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's some nonsense NFTs that you could sell, like patterns that makes your phone vibrate. Just make be like, I own this pattern. Woo!
All
I
right. So
already
we're
won
going
that.
way past 15 minutes. All right. Bye,
Check out
everybody.
check out Yonko LLC.